All right, so now what we're going to do is let's calculate the all these items here, like the total store value, the products that are out of stock, and even the categories. How many categories do we have in the list? So let's head over to our product slides, because that's where we're going to be adding all of these functionalities. And then I'll just scroll up to, I'll collapse all of these guys we're not using. So this one I'll collapse, and then so here I'm just going to add a couple of more states. So the first three, to be specific, because we are dealing with three items. This one I'll call total store value. Total store value. Okay, it's going to be initially set to 0. Then this one is going to be, what is that, out of stock. So products that are out of stock, so out of stock, and initially it's also going to be 0. Then this last one is going to be categories, or just category. And category initially is going to just be an empty array. So empty array. Great. So now let's come to this place here. Just scroll down to the actions. So remember, before we've already created this action, we named it calculate store value. This is where we'll just calculate the total store value. So how are we going to do that? Well, let me remove this console.log first. So for us to calculate the total store value, we'll need to have access to the products array. So expect that when this action is dispatched, it's going to come with a payload that will be the product. So let me just say const products, and that's going to be equal to the action dot payload. Okay, so we're going to get that from the front end. Now we'll come down to the next line. Now what we'll do is I'll first create an empty array. I'll say const array, and I'll set it to be equal to an empty array. Now I'll map through the products next. So I'll say product dot map and 1 2, and then I'll just open it up like this. Yeah, so I'll represent every product inside this products array as an item. Okay, so let's bring this in. So what do we want to do? Well, I want to calculate the price of a single product. So what I'll do is I'll first destructure the price and the quantity from a single item. Okay, equal to item. Okay, then next let's come down and create a variable. I'll call that product value, and this is going to be the value of a single product. This should be product value. So how do we get the product value? Well, it's going to be equal to the price times the quantity. So remember what we did here when we calculated this value. We just multiply the price, in this case 10, by the quantity. So that's why we have 100 here. That's what we are doing here technically. So here I'll just say price multiplied by quantity. So that's going to be the product value. I'll come down. Now what I will now do is I will now push this product value inside of the array. So this empty array, I'll just take all the product values and push it inside. So how am I going to do that? I'll say return, and then I'll just say array dot push. And then what do I want to push? I want to push the product value. So technically, you know what I'm doing here? I'm creating a new array, and the new array is just going to contain the value of each product. That's what I'm basically doing here, right? So now I can now come down outside of this map function here, and I will create a total value. So I'll say const total value, and that's going to be equal to So in this one here, I'll just do array.reduce. So, and this array.reduce, I'm referring to this array here that I pushed in the product value. So I'll come here and say array dot reduce, reduce, yeah, and then I'm just going to open it up like this, and here I'll just say a and b. So a, b, and then let's just open it up with an arrow function. Aha. So inside here, of course, this is going to have a 0. So here we'll just return a plus b. So this is what will help us calculate the total value of the items in the store. Now that we've calculated the total value using this array.reduce method here, I will now set it to the state. So I'll say state dot total store value, and that's going to be equal to total value. All right, so at this point we can now test this function here to calculate the total value, and of course we know we need to export this total store value so that we can use it from anywhere. So I can just scroll down to the bottom here and just export it. So it's only the loading that we exported before. So here I'll say select total store value, and it's just going to point to, instead of pointing to its loading, it will just point to total store value. Aha. So now we're good to go to test this function. I'll go to the product summary. Let's first import use dispatch. So here I'll just say use dispatch, import that from, then I'll also import use selector. Aha, so import that as well. Then I'll also import select total store value. Aha, so those are the things I'll import. So first off, let's just create the variables for the dispatch and the use selector. So since it's something we've done like numerous times, I guess I'll just drag it in. I can't even find it, so let me just type it out myself then. So I'll just come here and okay, yeah, so I'll just come here inside here, and then I'll just have my dispatch, and then I'm also going to select the total store value. So I'll say const total store value, total store value, and that's going to be equal to, so now I'm going to use selector, and then here I'm just going to select total store value. Aha, great. So those are the two things we need. Next, we're going to have a use effects that will just dispatch this function or this action. And I don't think I imported the action. The action is to calculate the total store value. So here I'll say calculate store value. Aha. So let's drag that out, and then let's just come down. So let's create a use effects that will just help us, dispatch that action. So here I'll just say use effect, and let's open that up like so. Initially, let me just add my empty dependency array. So here I only want to dispatch what we have, which is the calculate store value, and I want to send it an argument, which is the product, just like we said when we're building it. Give it a dependency of dispatch and product. Okay, so now when we dispatch this action, well, it's going to calculate the total store value, and we have access to the total store value here from Redux. So I'll just copy this total store value, and I would have it in, where is it? So info box and then total store value. Exactly. So I'll just have it here. So let me paste that here and then let's save and see if it works. So I'll save and let's just wait for it to compile. So here you see we have 185. So indeed it has calculated. And if you come here, you see we have 160. If you go to the next place, you see 25. So it's actually correct, 185. The only thing is we want to add a dollar sign in front of this. Excuse me. And we want to be able to format the numbers such that if we have maybe like 1,000, it can just add a comma to it. I hope you see what's going on here. So it has added a comma, then we, you know, added 2 decimal places after the actual number. So let's see how we can do that. So for us to do that, I'm going to bring in a function that will help us format number, and that function is built with regex. It's actually one of those functions that you just look for online. It's not something I recommend you memorize at all. So I'll just bring in the function, and you're also going to have access to it because you're going to have access to the finished project. So let me just bring in the function and I'll just put it somewhere at the top. Outside, I can even put it outside the component. So I'll just come here and paste that in. So this is the function. It formats a number. It's this long regex blah blah blah. Technically it will just add a comma after every 3 digits. So you see 1 2 3, it has added a comma. That's what it does. Right, so I'll now come here inside the info box and then I'll use that function. So I'll come to, where is it? Yeah, this place where we have total store value, and then I'll just have backticks inside. Okay, now inside this backticks, the first thing is let's just have a dollar text. Then I'll now have string interpolation here where I will now call the format numbers. So that's the function. Inside this format number, I will now give it an argument of this total store value. So if I copy this guy, or if I cut this guy rather, and then I now put it here like this, Ctrl V, and then save, watch what happens. So let's come to finish product. So you see we now have a dollar in front of it. But because the numbers is not up to 4, you don't see any comma. So but that aside, let's now append 2 decimal places. So here I'll just come after this format numbers, I'll just come to this point here, or sorry, inside the total store value, I'll say total store value and then I'll say dot to fixed. So this to fixed is now what is going to help us append as many decimal places as we want, but we just want 2 decimal places. If I go ahead and save, you see here that we now have 0.00. So that's about it for this functionality. So in the next one, we are going to calculate the products that are out of stock. See you there.